1957 Dred Scott decision is one of America's most famous Supreme Court cases. And joining me today is the great-great-granddaughter and president of the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation, Lynne Jackson. Welcome, Lynne.
Thank you, Sarah.
So when in your life did you become aware of your great-great-grandfather, Dred Scott?
Well, at a very young age, and probably I would have to say about 5, because there was a big event, and I remember it pretty vividly, but I was very small, and there were a lot of lights and a lot of people, and we were at the old courthouse, and my dad played Dred Scott, and it was like, wow, something big is going on. So that's when it started for me.
You're part of his lineage, and he was a very, very important man in our history.
Exactly. Yeah. My dad played his part because he's the great-grandson, and he also had his law degree, so he was the perfect candidate for the family to do that. But yeah, Dred and Harriet were very, very important people in our history. What happened with them was very sad, but it really was pivotal in helping us change our country from a slave nation to one that was free.
Yeah.
Their case was started in 1846. They went down to the old courthouse and filed for their freedom because they had been in free territory with their previous owner. And his wife, who was then a widow, did not allow them to buy their freedom, or she would not give them their freedom because she knew they had legal rights to it. The only recourse they had was to sue. But it took 11 years and 5 court proceedings for the U.S. Supreme Court to say that they and all African descendants, slaves of African descent, could not have their freedom in this country because they were not citizens. They had not been considered citizens. And so that, along with a few other activist moves of like throwing out the Missouri Compromise and eliminating all the barriers to slavery, it really was a catalyst for the Civil War. And
it was right here in St. Louis, Missouri, and we've had so many events, even in the last couple of years here in the St. Louis area, that we're still having that conversation to a certain extent.
That's right.
And you've been really busy.
I have. People, they know Dred Scott's name, but they're not very sure all the time exactly who he was or what he did or why he's important. And when you think about the fact that if he and his wife had not pursued this case beyond the Missouri Supreme Court to the United States Supreme Court, it could have died here. And we would have never heard of them, and maybe we would have been a slave nation a lot longer. But the catalyst was so strong that Abraham Lincoln decided that he had to fight the Dred Scott decision, and that's one of the reasons he got back in politics and became a president who, as we all know, helped end slavery in that regard.
Right, right. And the fact that he was just across the river, Abraham Lincoln, in Illinois, and there was the geographic proximity.
It was the heart of the nation, and even that has a symbolism to it.
Absolutely. So why is it important in your mind that we continue to study the Dred Scott case and that you carry that message even today with this event we're going to talk about in a few minutes coming up in December? Why is it important for us Americans?
Well, there's so many things that have happened since that decision. And yeah, people say we've come a long way, and we have. But as we know from Ferguson, which we live right here, there are a lot of things that still need to be corrected, but a lot of it has to do with the individual person, their heart, how they see things, and a lot of it is systematic. And so the idea that Dred Scott fought for his freedom when he didn't have resources, when he didn't have anything but the desire to be free, and how people came around him and supported him. Even the family that previously owned him helped him through his court cases. These people and people today like that are the ones who are going to help continue to make a difference. We just have to stand up for what's right. And we are human beings, and that's what this case was about.
Yeah, and the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation has been around now for about 10 years.
10 years. This is our 10th anniversary.
And next year, a very big year in the history of the case, 160th anniversary.
Exactly. The foundation started based on the idea of commemoration, education, and reconciliation. And we honored the 150th by commemorating it. Next year will be the 160th, and some exciting things are on the drawing boards for that as well.
Very good. Lynne, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about a big event coming up next month for you and all those interested in the Dred Scott case. So stay with us at STL Live. We'll have more with the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation and Lynne Jackson after this break.